Well, greetings and salutations, everyone. I do hope everyone is still doing well, and welcome to, depending on wherever you may live or however you choose to read your clock this early morning, middle of the night bonus upload. Before we jump into it, a couple quick links. As many of you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and channel membership is in the description below. The merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support the channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It does not cost a cent. Click the like button, takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads that I put out daily, click that bell icon, and folks, please leave a comment. Why? Well, because all of these things really do help the channel to continue to grow and go. They definitely do matter, and they are appreciated. And with that, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump into this early morning or middle of the night bonus upload, shall we? All right, everybody. Tonight I have a guest from Scotland. I narrated his encounter a while back, and we finally got together. We've been talking about this interview for almost a year. So, Scott, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good. It's glad to have you on the channel tonight.
I'm good to be.
So you've got two encounters, and
Yeah.
I don't direct my show. I'm just gonna leave it to you to tell us how it happened and go from there.
All right. Well, all right. We'll start right at the start. My first ever encounter and my introduction, if you will, to this kind of thing. Because the thing was, and the thing is, I should say, I was always I need to see it to believe it. All right, all of my friends and my family were big believers in anything paranormal. I was always, what's the word? Not laid back about it. But you know what I mean? Like I was like
a skeptic.
A skeptic. Yeah, maybe a better word. Yeah. So this was my introduction, and so what a fucking introduction it was. So I was 15. I'm 22 now, and my friend Ross and his family were going away on holiday, or vacation, as you would call it in America. And they couldn't take the dog, the family dog Rusty, which was a little pug. And I can't remember what the reason was. I think they couldn't find a pet-friendly hotel, and they didn't believe in putting it in a kennel to, say, I don't know why, but so they asked me, how would you feel about, looking after him? And obviously I live with my parents at the time, so I just can't be like, oh, I'm going to bring a dog home. I can't do that. So I had to ask them, and they said, no, we don't want an animal in the house. So I had to go back and obviously give the shit news to Ross and his dad, and they were like, shit, well, what can we do about it? I said, I don't know. So his dad talked to everyone, and they said, well, how about we get you a key made, and then you can come over and sort of house sit for a bit, and then you can look after him. Because they were only 2 blocks away, from my house to Ross's house, so it made sense, right? So that's exactly what happened. I went over every day for a week. I think they were gone for about a week and a half or 2 weeks. I can't remember exactly, but I went over there and just did the usual shit. Just made sure Rusty was fine. Made sure he had clean food, fresh food, clean water, that kind of thing. And on the particular night that my encounter happened, I don't know what the fuck possessed me to do this, but it was around 11 o'clock, and I just decided to go for a walk with him. I don't know why, but I wanted to go for a walk with him and take him for a walk. So I get the leash on him, and we go outside, and it's dead quiet because everyone's in their bed for work. All the cars are parked up and all that kind of shit. Excuse me. I get kind of nervous telling this story, man. I'm sorry. So yeah, as soon as I get outside, the vibe is not pleasant. I don't know what it was, but something just felt off. I don't know how to describe it other than that. There was just a strange feeling in the air. Like, this is a weird vibe. So, and the place that this took place in is called Polmont, Polmont, Polmont Wood. You can Google it and have a look. I'm sure you can find something on Google. And it's basically, there's a reservoir in that thing that I'd never go near because I heard stories about that growing up. But I was nowhere near the reservoir when this happened. So yeah, I'm walking rusty and everything's fine. There's no reason to be alarmed, even though I feel kind of janky for whatever reason. I'm just walking, doing my thing, and my dumbass decided that would be a good idea because it was plenty of moonlight, I guess, and I could see that I shouldn't take my phone or any kind of light. So yeah, that was a bad idea in retrospect. So, we're walking and everything's fine. And just, Rusty stopping every 5 minutes to go and pee in a branch or a low-hanging piece of tree or something. And I'm just thinking to myself, what's going on in my head is I'm thinking about, jobs. I'm thinking about things me and Ross were talking about, a relationship issue I was having at the time. Just normal things, no reason to be creeped out or weirded out or anything, you know what I mean? So about 5 minutes goes by, maybe 10 minutes, and we're still walking, and he starts yanking on my wrist, and he starts barking at something, and I'm like, right, it's probably just a deer, just a fox, rabbit, squirrel, Scottish wildlife, normal things that you would see in the woods right here, because there's no such thing as bears unless you go up north, and that's way up north. And even then, it's quite rare, from my understanding. But he starts yanking on my wrist, and I'm like, right, what the fuck is he barking at? There's nothing. I couldn't see anything. It's it's probably just a bear. Stop freaking. It's probably just a deer or a squirrel or something. Stop freaking yourself out. So I get him back on track again, and he's walking. He's walking fine, and I calm down at this point. I'm back to normal again, and he starts going mental again. He starts barking his head off, and I'm like, "What the fuck are you barking at?" I'm not shouting at him, but I'm yelling, what the fuck are you barking at? So again, I'm looking to where he's looking. I'm looking up trees for fucking squirrels. I'm looking into the woods, looking into the trees to see if there's a deer or something or a fox. And I'm like, right. And I was getting to the point where his leash was just digging into my wrist and it was hurting like hell. So I did the stupidest thing ever. And I knew I shouldn't have done it. I knew I shouldn't have done it. But I let him off the leash, and of course he just darted right into the woods, and I'm like, fuck. Obviously I need to take care of this dog. I've told my friends and his family that I would. So obviously I need to look after this dog. So I go into the woods right after him, going by nothing by moonlight, almost getting stabbed in the fucking eye by twigs and branches and all kinds of shit. And I managed to catch up to him. And I catch my breath, and I grab him, I pick him up, and I'm like, I'm not shouting at him, but I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And all that kind of stuff. And I'm trying to calm down and recollect myself, but he is dead on staring at this tree. And his ears are down, his tail's tucked between his legs. Now, I don't own a dog, but I know that's behaviour that I think you associate with being scared or agitated. So again, I'm thinking, right, is there a squirrel in the tree? Is there a fox? All that kind of stuff, right? A rabbit, maybe? So I walk over to the tree, and I start to see what I thought was a dog. From memory, it had brown, sort of patchy, coppery, bronzy, almost kind of orange fur. It was long, it was matted. And I was like, right, this is a neighbour dog that got out the neighbourhood, and it's just got into the woods. So my sort of thought at the time, my collection of it was, all right, maybe I should take this dog home as well, and maybe we can get it into the RSPCA, which is the local animal place wildlife thing, and maybe we can find its owner. Maybe it's been chipped or something, right? That was my thought process. So this thing heard me coming, and I genuinely assumed it was a dog. I had no other reason to believe it was anything else, obviously. And this fucking thing heard me coming because I was shifting through leaves and shit. It stood up, it turned to face me, and then stood up again on two legs. Now, I'd be about 6 foot at the time, and I'd say this thing could have jumped over me if it wanted to on two legs. I mean, it had to be about 7.5 foot tall, easily. From memory, the best description I could give you was if you imagine a bodybuilder, like a thin but muscly bodybuilder with a German Shepherd's head. It didn't have the sort of stereotypical pointy ears that you see on like the werewolves and, you know, Hollywood and shit, but they were protruding ears, at least from what I remember. It didn't have a long snout or nose, but it was there. It was noticeable. And the eyes were pale. The eyes were like sickly pale and sickly yellow pupils. It was horrifying. So I just froze, obviously not knowing what to do. And I would say the whole encounter lasted about maybe a minute at most. But the thing eventually just dropped into all fours and it ran around the other side of the tree. And I heard it take off. And I was like, that's my chance to get away. Fuck that. I was off. I took Rusty and I was gone. I ran about 6 miles in the space of about, I don't even know, about 5 minutes. Like, I was terrified. So I got back to the house, unlocked the door. I vomited in the sink due to the sort of fear, anxiety, and all the adrenaline that I'd felt, obviously running away and having that encounter and being so scared. But I locked every window, I locked every door, and I didn't sleep that night. I stayed up. I just kind of autopiloted the rest of that night. I don't really remember what happened, other than I stayed up and watched the TV, trying to get some sleep, and I couldn't. I had a dream. Well, sorry, I fell asleep in class. I think it was science, I'm not too sure. Not that it matters. But I fell asleep in class, or I was daydreaming, and I had the vision of it in my head, and I had like pretty much a big breakdown, and I had to go sit in the nurse's office for a good hour. And that was it. That was my first encounter. So yeah, thanks, Jeff, for letting me tell you that.
Thank you. Now your second one is the most terrifying one. I mean, when you shared it with me, I think we talked on the phone, and then you sent it to me, and of course I knew it, but then when I read it on my channel, I was like, wow. You want to get into that real quick?
Yeah, right. So my second encounter, from my memory at least, it was me and my friend, who I won't name. It wasn't Ross, but I won't name him. We had been out one night. I forget what we were doing, going to a club or something. I mean, this is obviously before, COVID and coronavirus and shit, where you're still allowed to go out. But I think we were looking for something to do that night, so we just went into a club, or we went into something in the town in the city. Can't remember. But on the way back, he was like, dude, I just want to go somewhere and sort of chill for a bit. And I was like, all right, cool, let's do it. So we found that we Google searched this place on our Google Maps and stuff on your phone, and it was like a sort of cutout in the road, and then you just sit in that, and you get a nice view of like rolling fields, and it's a bit elevated. So you get it's like a makeout point, but we weren't making out. If you know what I mean. Right. Yeah, it's like you get the idea. Yeah, you get the idea. So we're sitting there, and again, there's absolutely no reason to be scared. And again, I started feeling that fucking, oh, what's going on here? Do you know, like that sort of anxiety building up in the pit of your stomach, and I'm like, why am I feeling like that? Then I got taken back to that night where I started feeling like that uneasy feeling where I stepped out the door with Rusty for the first time. That night to go on the walk. And I was like, why am I feeling like this? And I remembered, oh shit. And I started like trying not to panic. So I was saying to him, I was like, dude, I was trying to make excuses to leave. I was like, oh, dude, you want to try to go to another spot? Or just like, I'm sure I saw someone I know back downtown. I can't remember what I said. I tried to make something up, to get out of there. And he was like, yeah, no, I want to go get some food, man. So we'll go. I was like, right. So I started to calm down a bit. And he put his lights on. And as soon as he did, it just illuminated the sort of, it was a field and then like a drop off, right? It wasn't like an instant drop off. But like, yeah, as soon as he turned his lights on, his full beams, it just illuminated this thing standing behind the pole. And again, it was pretty much the exact same fucking thing that I've seen before. But it wasn't orange or coppery in colour. It was grey. And it was like a silvery streak through its fur. It was strange. It was like, you ever seen that colour shift paint? You ever seen that?
Yep.
It was like that. It was like it started off grey and then it got like silvery chrome when like any sort of light reflected from it. It was the strangest thing I've ever seen. But yeah, that's the second encounter.
Wow. So now you live deep in Scotland, like you've got woods all around where you live, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a suburb, but it's definitely not country either. It's like, yeah, it's kind of remote-ish. You know, it's remote enough. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right. Now, these two encounters, were they close by each other, or?
Not really. The first one was in Pullman Woods, which is in Grangemouth, which is where I live. The other one was in a place called the Loch Lubnig. Now, I'll send you some links, and maybe you can put it in the description of the video, to obviously people can go see in Google Maps and stuff. But Loch Lubnig is it's a loch, it's a lake, it's a body of water, it's a big piece of water, right? Okay. So, I mean, loch is like the Scottish term for lake, pretty much, right? So loch, yeah. But Lubnig is the name of that lake or loch. And I've been there multiple times before with my family and stuff when I was younger, and again, it's one of those things that just turned into like, I don't want to fucking go there again. Right. And it's shit, because I used to go fishing there on my 16th birthday party. Me and a couple of friends went camping there and nothing happened. So it's like, it's shit, because it's almost ruined that, I don't want to go back there and fuck that place kind of thing. I'm sorry for swearing so much, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's all right. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, you just don't want to go back because it's completely ruined the nostalgic memories that you had there, so I understand completely.
And it's like, for example, I told my friend about this, and obviously I'm not going to name her, but she didn't believe me at all when I was telling her these stories. She looked at me as if I was mental, and maybe you're right to, but there's no way you can convey that you're telling the truth, I suppose, unless you just say, listen, I'm not bullshitting. But then again, people that are bullshitting say that they're not. Do you know what I mean? It's like, how do you prove? So, I don't know, it's one of these things. Like, I want her to experience it, but at the same time, I wouldn't want to take her anywhere that one of those things are.
Right. Absolutely.
Because experiences have been, I mean, I've never been attacked by anything. I mean, it's not like Hollywood or nothing where you're being fucking chased through the woods by something. But I was my first encounter, I was about 15 feet away, and that I could add another 15 onto that if I had the choice. I'll put it that way. I really don't want to be close to them at all. They're not anything that should be coming into close contact with any kind of human. They're just evil things.
Yeah, your mind just doesn't comprehend what you're looking at.
No.
And it just...
I mean, just try and picture it. I feel like, to the people watching this, just try and picture being in the woods and you lose, or you think you lose your friend's dog. So you go in tumbling after it, and you think you find another dog, so you're like, I'm going to take this home and see if it's microchipped or something, and and see if you can find the owners for it. And then it sees you coming and hears you coming. It turns to face you. It stands up, and then it stands up again, and it's about 7.5 feet fucking tall.
Yeah. It's definitely.
I mean, there's no explanation.
Yeah, it's definitely not something you're ready for at that time.
No.
So, well, Scott, it was great having you coming on. I've been wanting to have you come on, but our time schedule with you being in Scotland and me being on the East Coast really doesn't line up. So I'm glad that we got the chance.
No, it doesn't.
Get together.
Yeah, not a problem, dude. How long are we talking about doing this for? About like a year, almost. You said
It's almost 2
like
years.
a year and a half.
We've been talking about 2 years, I'd say. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Time flies when you're enjoying yourself, huh?
Yeah. So I think back when you sent me the album of the covers of you doing Pantera, and I was just blown away.
Oh, dude, I mean, I'll send you more. Unfortunately, the band is defunct, as we've kind of talked about, but,
right.
You never know. You never know.
To everyone, Scott is one of the best guitar players I've heard.
Oh, come on
now. When you and your cover band, when you guys were doing cover songs of Pantera, I was like, wow, this is... And then I played it for a couple other friends, and, so it was definitely... very, very, you guys are definitely very good musicians, so.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
No problem. Well, thank you for coming on. Is there anything that you'd like to say to everybody before we end the interview?
Yes, actually is. Me and my friend were talking about that. Like, we sometimes we talk about any kind of shit, right? We can bullshit about anything. But in particular, one night he was like, dude, like, have you ever thought about going anywhere with these stories? And I'm like, I mean, I have done before, but he was like, no, I mean like going to an official place. I'm like, no, not really. So if I was going to say anything to anyone, keep a curious mind, but I really would not recommend going to look for these things, especially going to hunt one. I don't know what the fuck you're thinking about doing if you go and try and hunt one of these things. You'll end up the one being hunted, I can assure you. Yeah, just... these things are out there. I can solemnly fucking swear. I just did. Just trust me. Don't go looking for what you don't want to see. That's all I'm going to say. Stay safe.
Thanks a lot, Scott.
No problem.
And there you have it, folks. I hope you all enjoyed this early morning or middle of the night bonus upload as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. I'd like to thank you all for supporting this channel. It is, after all, your support that keeps the channel growing and going, and what gives us all a place and a chance to share our experiences and theories judgment-free. Everyone is simply treated with the respect that we all deserve. That is because of all of you, so thank you. Please, everyone, stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, the most precious gift we have been gifted. Our pets, the greatest alarm system ever. Our family and friends, the ones that mean the most. Share this information with the ones you love, and it may just help save their lives someday. Until next time, never stop asking questions, never stop searching for the truth, and God bless you all.